Okay, so now we're going to look at how blending modes work with the Gravit Designer. This is a blending modes example that I'm not going to use this year. It just shows how it works, but you can see the different documents that are open along the top here. So I'm going to go to blending modes 1, which is the one we're going to use. Blending modes 1, there we go. And you can see it's a picture of a building with these gray bars over the top from dark to light at the top. And blending modes is a way to interact with an object underneath an object. So it's kind of like transparency, but not quite the same. So I'm going to highlight the gray bars. They're grouped together. Here's the black arrow up here. I'm still learning this program, so it doesn't have as many menus as Illustrator, but there's a lot more in terms of toolbars and stuff. So you can highlight it by clicking with the black arrow, or I can click on this. It's a group, and that layers the group, so it shows its layers right here. And the appearance panel is where we're going to do the blending modes. Okay, so right now, here's the appearance panel over here. It's set at a opacity of 100%. All right, we can slide the opacity down just like we have in the past with Illustrator. I'm going to put it 100% again. And here are the different blending modes. Okay, Illustrator has them grouped a little bit. These aren't by what they do. Things that make them darker are multiply, darken, color words lighter, screen, and lighten, obviously. So Illustrator has them grouped by what they do. These aren't quite the same, but we'll go through a few of these and see how they work. So when you hit multiply, what it does, it makes anything that's dark on top even darker with the background. And you notice, so the dark bars at the bottom are almost black, and as you go up the screen, you see that they get less and less dark and show more and more of the picture because these are the lighter ones and the almost white. So multiply darkens the darks and doesn't affect the lights on top as much, where screen does the opposite. Screen, you notice the white lines up here are white. They don't let much through at all, but the darker lines, they don't react much with the background because they're dark. So that's the difference between multiply and screen, and those are probably ones that you'll use the most. Now you can always lessen the effect by taking down the opacity in any of these. So if you really want to fine tune it after you do the blending mode, you can change the opacity. Let's look at a couple more. Overlay does not change it quite as much. Where darken is a lot like multiply, though I see that darken in this program does not do as much as darken does in Illustrator. Lightens like screen. Color dodge gives you a little more dramatic effect. It really highlights some colors and brings them out, especially where you have the in-betweens, not quite so dark, not completely white. Dodges color burn. If it's dark, it really burns through. If it's lighter, it doesn't quite as much. Hard light is again, it's not the same as Illustrator. It doesn't quite have the dramatic effect that it does in Illustrator. Soft light should have less of an effect, and it does. And then you get into these difference in exclusion, saturation. These are really extreme things that I have not used very much. Most of the time you'll be using the multiplier screen to lighten and darken. That's why they're at the top. You can play with these all you want. These are some things that down here, the linear dodge the linear burn, I'm not familiar with it. These are not blending modes on Illustrator, but they look like they do the same thing. Vivid light. So what I do when I want something and I'm trying to get a special kind of effect, sometimes I just go through the list and keep playing with them until I find something that works the way I want it. Now, hard mix, that's more like the hard light of Illustrator, but it's more extreme than the Illustrator version. So hard light in Designer and hard mix are extremes, and the hard light in Illustrator somewhere in between. So those are blending modes. Oh, that one gives an interesting effect. So these down here are ones that Illustrator does not have, but those are all the different ways you can blend one object that is on top of another to give a new effect. It's similar to opacity, but not quite the same. And like I said, you can adjust the opacity to give more of a fine tuning to the effect you want. So there's nothing to turn in on this assignment. It's just a chance to play with Designer a little bit and see how it works and see how blending modes work. If you want to learn more about Designer, I just encourage you to play with it, try different things, look at the tutorials that I posted on Google Classroom to see how it works, and we'll continue to move forward. All right, thank you and have a great day.